My name is Mike Nugent, and I'm running for City Council in Ward 4. Um, I think many of the candidates have spoken eloquently, and I won't necessarily repeat every point they made, but we're obviously Democrats, and we agree on a lot of things. But Missoula's at a crisis point in our housing right now, and it's something that I think that I've got a unique kind of background to face. I have been on in the housing world on the private side for the last 12 years. I also am a commissioner on the Missoula Housing Authority board. So I've got a unique ability to kind of see both sides of that conversation and kind of appreciate some of the things that are going into our current issues right now. I firmly believe that everybody deserves a safe and clean place to live, and I think that that should be a goal of any government. And I believe that government exists to do good things for people, and that we've got a responsibility to help each other out. Other areas that I think we need to hit on, obviously, infrastructure is always a thing in city council races, and it will never not be. I think that's important to the people in their wards, how their sidewalks are, how their roads are, what happens to the snow, what happens to the leaves. Those things matter. I think we have a unique opportunity to dive into some public-private partnerships, both with our nonprofit sector partners and our market rate housing partners, to kind of tackle some of these issues. And I think that we can better use some of our TIF money to do this. I think that a perfect example of where we had the right idea, but maybe we could do better next time, is the Scott Street Village, which is at the end of Scott Street by the cemetery. We used TIF money to put in
15 seconds, sorry.
We used TIF money to put in infrastructure, but we didn't find a way to guarantee future affordability. So I think that we've got to be creative and find ways to do that. And I'm going to cut myself off there.
So I will say I first met Mike about a decade ago at a John Tester fundraiser. And I was literally standing there talking to Senator Tester, and someone walked in behind me, and Tester bolted as quick as he could to leave me and go to whoever was behind me. And it turns out it was Mike. And I thought, boy, that must be somebody who's really important. And it turns out I was right. Mike, to know Mike is to like Mike. He's someone with very deep roots in Missoula. His grandfather served on city council. His dad has been the city attorney, I think, since laws were written. I'm not sure about that, but for seemingly forever. And Mike's just an all-around good guy who I know shares our values as Democrats. And I know that he's somebody who will fight for the things that we care about on city council. And so I hope that, aside from the fact that he's also, his opponent is Alan All, to put it mildly, does not share our values. I think Mike would be a fantastic addition to the city council, and I hope you'll support him.
I think that whenever possible, obviously, we want to vote the way that our ward would like us to vote. Obviously, the way representative government works is they elect people to help make decisions for them. But I think one of the things that your survey touched on was, how can we better communicate with our ward and keep that communication going? And frankly, I think that that's something that we can all do better as far as what comes in front of city council, because most of the things people complain about as far as city council goes, city council doesn't actually have anything to do with, which is kind of probably true for a lot of local government. So I think that kind of keeping my door open, keeping my inbox open, and making sure that we're factoring in both what our constituents want and what's for the better good of the community, and factoring in all those things is important. Yeah, I don't think satisfied is ever a word that we can really use around this topic. I mean, I think that, after some serious prompting, it is good that this issue has been faced more head on than it was previously, but we can always do better. And that's true locally, and that's true across the country, both in the community, on campus, kind of everywhere. I think one of the big things that kind of gets lost in this is not only in the moment, like we need well-trained police officers and prosecutorial staff to kind of handle these issues, but we also need that next step, that follow-up, and Kristen kind of hit this right on the head with, you know, we've got crime victim advocates, but we need to make sure that there are people who are well-funded and exist to kind of help people get through this process and do follow-ups and make sure that people aren't falling through the cracks, because these sort of events can be a crisis point in someone's life where if they don't get the help they need, it can be a trigger to all sorts of other issues. And I think that a couple of our candidates kind of have already answered this, talking about partner and family member assaults and how a lot of these things kind of tie together. But I think that one of the big things that rings true is safe housing can be a big positive step to tackle some of these issues before they happen. It's not going to solve all of them by any stretch, but that's definitely something where we can be more proactive and help people out. I think that supporting all the great things this community has to offer, including the YWCA shelter, the new one going in on 3rd, which I've had the opportunity to tour. It really is a tremendous step up from where this community was prior. I think that's all real positive, but I think that Kristen's answer about data and knowing and actually getting a better feel for what we really know versus what we think we know, I think it's crucial. And I will be right there with her on that front. She seems a little bit more data smart than I am, so she may be the leader, but I will be right there with her. If I could pass the city ordinance, I would say that whenever we give public money to housing projects, be it through TIF or other means, that we better tie in a return on a community need to that project. I think that's one of many, but I think that we've got the opportunity to use TIF a little bit more wisely when it comes to helping to solve our housing crisis. Jordan mentioned that the state legislature kind of tied our hands on some policies, but I don't think all is lost. And I think that we've got tremendous opportunity to kind of use that as a carrot to kind of build what we want to see that follows our growth plan and you know, achieves the growth and the steps that we've said that we want to do as a community, and we've kind of outlined in that plan. And I think maybe the first real step, if that's not a policy that could pass right away, would be we need to update our zoning to kind of allow that more to happen. All right. Thanks everybody for taking the time to listen to all of us. I'm running for Ward 4 because I love Missoula. You know, your question mentioned gentrification, and I think that housing is our major issue right now, and so many of our other problems and issues stem from access to housing across all spectrums, and that housing affordability and fixing that process. I think that my values are Dem values and Missoula's values are Dem values, and I'm proud of who I am and who we are, and I'm proud to be a Missoulian, and I would love your endorsement.